Welcome, beautiful souls, and thank you for watching. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. So this one is about the divine feminine. I had a few encounters, and it took me some time to understand what I was seeing or witnessing and perceiving from other dimensions with my inner view, my inner eye. So the first thing that happened, okay, I have to explain a little bit. I was very much interested in Egypt and the pyramids and everything around Isis and Osiris, but I didn't get it when I was younger and read what was available then and is all kind of tainted by the materialist and scientific view. And now we have other information that there's much more behind or about the whole pyramid thing and sound and everything. And also the uniting in consciousness of our left and right part of the brain, called the logic and the intuitive, or the male and the female, the masculine and the feminine. So I had one inner scene that I witnessed, can't explain when it happened, is already years ago, and how I came there. It just happens to me sometimes when I'm shortly before falling asleep in the kind of theta brainwave state or the hypnagogic state that also the remote viewers use to get their information. I found myself in Egypt, and I was in front of one of these buildings, the ancient buildings. I don't know which one it was, but it reminded me very much when I researched afterwards of the entrance to Abu Simbel, where these four big pharaonic figures, or whoever they are sitting. And I was in front of that, and I knew I'm in Egypt in front of a temple or a building. And suddenly I saw a very tall female figure coming out of the stones, not out of the entrance, but out of the walls from this building. And she was looking around, and then she threw her hands in front of her face and started crying so deeply that I had to cry as well, because it touched my heart profoundly. And instantly I knew this is the goddess, maybe in the form of Isis, and it took me some time to understand that all these female figures are just like Mary Magdalene or whoever you like to view as a female goddess or a figure like that. They all represent nothing but the divine feminine. And I got intuitively, she was looking at the world and she was crying about the state that the world and humans are in. That's why she threw her hands in front of her face and was crying. And then she just turned around and went into the stone building again, right through the walls. So that was very touching for me, and I got the feeling, yes, I can understand, because I perceive the world as upside down as well. From the very beginning, when I was born here, I thought I'm wrongly incarnated. There's something wrong here. Everything is upside down. The grown-ups, they are not telling what they think or feel. I felt as a kid already the difference or the discrepancy between the thought energy of the grown-ups and their emotional energy, and what they were really putting out by words. So, and on my traveling inner journey, where mediumship was just the door opener to me, and this learning journey is also always developing and kind of never ending. I wondered why I'm not like these mediums that only give messages from the deceased loved ones, or communicate with pets or with nature beings like fays, or just the angels, or others are only about the ETs. I've got the whole range and I never knew why. But during my journey, I was, in the beginning, of course, I was running to other mediums, trying to get some information to understand myself better, my purpose, my journey, what it is that I have to learn or to understand and to practice. And I got some very cryptic statements from some of them, like, you can hear and understand the language of the birds. Didn't know what that meant. Or you are a wanderer between worlds. This now makes sense to me after 13 years, because I'm kind of wandering through all the realms, not only the deceased ones, the afterlife, or the elemental realm, or angels, or ETs. I've got the whole range, and I know a little bit of everything, but not that specified into one direction. Maybe this one direction will show up in the future, I don't know, or whether it has to be like that. Maybe you can be kind of an all-rounder. There are more and more polymaths coming up, like Robert Edward Grant, that are dealing with music and mathematics and sacred geometry and things like that. And as I remember one life as a scribe in Egypt, that was not only about scribing, writing hieroglyphs, or painting the paintings on the walls. That was much more, as I remember. That was kind of learning about architecture, learning about sound, learning about proportions, sacred geometry, and so on. So it was a wide field, and also a wild field, because there's a lot to learn in every branch of these. So my second, or no, it wasn't the second, but the most important encounter with the divine feminine I had during a meditation, a special one that I learned from my teachers, where I enter my sacred place of power, or place of the soul, via my heart. And that was to me always like a place with nature, like a clearing, and there was water and trees and grass, and I just loved the atmosphere there to recharge my batteries. And the more often I did it, the more beings came and visited me there. Everything from gnomes to fairies to animals. Even the dog of my childhood appeared there, and he had already gray hair on his snout, but he was talking to me. And I think that all happens telepathically. So it happened by some exercises and some time doing this special meditation, that there appeared a figure that was totally veiled, as if you had just thrown a sheet over her and she was walking under that. And I recognized the energy that she was female, feminine, and she always walked up straight towards me, and she gave me some kind of, a bowl with fruits in there, and the fruits were very red, like a little bit like raspberries or something like that, a strong red color that is also, for me, representative of not sexual energy, but sensuality. I don't even know whether this word exists. Excuse me for my bad English, just the sensitivity, to feel, which is kind of a basic thing for women or for females if they're not totally distracted and go the male, the intellectual path. And I always felt kind of honored to be given this fruit, and I always took one. And whatever you get on the other side, you don't bring it back to here, you just take it in there. So I also knew at the same time I'm not eating a fruit, I'm kind of eating or taking in a special energy, which I could not classify or define further. It just felt good, and it was a nice feeling, and my eyes were very content with this wonderful radiating red color of the fruit, and it was not looking like any fruit I know here on earth. I only used the example to describe the color or the direction of the color. That's why I said like raspberry, but it was not raspberry. So, and that happened again and again and again, and I felt honored and I ate the fruit. And it never came to my mind, although I wondered afterwards who might be this figure. It never came to my mind to ask her, because I already told you I had to learn to question and I had to learn to express myself on the other side. In the beginning, I couldn't talk. I was just witnessing and seeing and in awe of everything that happened, but I couldn't bring out a single word like, who are you? Why do you give me this fruit? Or something like that. But with the time, I also learned and developed, thank God. And then one day, I did the meditation again, and the figure walked straight towards me. And then I asked her, who are you? And as if in relief that I'm finally asking the pivotal question, she just ripped off the whole veil, and I saw a wonderful, beautiful woman with long dark hair, reminded me a little bit of Mary Magdalene. But that's my translation into pictures to make me understand whom I encountered there. And she said, finally you ask, already thought you would never ask. And she was smiling all over her face and was very happy. And then I understood, oh, that's the divine feminine in every one of us that wants to be acknowledged, and you have to ask her. That's kind of the acknowledging process. Who are you? So that she is able to show herself. Like the light energies, the positive ones, they will never override your free will or force anything upon you. That's the tactic of the dark side, or the the strict tricksters. What a difficult word. Sorry for that. So, as you maybe know from psychology, we have a male and a female part of our soul, and this needs to come into balance. So in my youth and the whole process of education and studying at the university, I was following the path that society kind of showed me as the only one, use your intellect, be rational and logical and blah, 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 using only or more in disbalance the male power, the masculine energy. So it makes sense to me that I needed to unite with the feminine to come into balance. And that was my encounter with the divine feminine, and I'm still learning from her or the house of Mary, because there are many Marys. And they don't care for names. You can forget about that. If you recognize it and witness it as the divine feminine, that's enough. It's about the feminine energy. You can call it a goddess because she was so beautiful. That was the first word, like you use as a medium, always the first impression without controlling it or doubting or uh, talking yourself out of it. The first impression that came up was, that's the goddess. Not in a manner to worship her, but just to acknowledge that's a higher evolved being than I am. And I recently had a client who came up with a dream he could not understand because he encountered a veiled or cloaked figure as well that looked exactly how I described my first encounter, as if a sheet was thrown over that figure. And he thought, who is that? And he also couldn't ask in the first place. But because I had my experience, I knew exactly this is the divine masculine. And because he was, or he is, what I really like very much, a man who is in touch with his feminine side already, and you can sense that because they are not these kind of toxic, masculine, controlling, wanting to be right all the time, having a repair answer for everything. He was in touch, he is in touch with his divine feminine. That's why he's so sympathetic and friendly and kind and has this warm, heartfelt energy that I could feel from him. So I could tell him, that's your divine masculine that you have to come in balance with, because they are both sitting on the divine throne and they are making up kind of source in its divine part as masculine and its divine part as feminine. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope it gives you some ideas or another viewpoint. And I just wish all the best for you. Blessings, love, and light, dear souls, onto your path. Bye.